Hey everyone, welcome back to But Why the podcast where me, Matt, Kate, and Adrian look at the things in pop culture that people say matter and ask the question, but why though? But before we get started, make sure you rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and wherever you listen. And if you want to support us more, come check out our Patreon at patreon.com/butwhythoughpc. Enjoy!
Talking about a franchise that is way older than I thought it was. Mission Impossible. As always, I'm your host, Kate, and I'm here with Adrian.
Hey, how's it going?
And Matt.
Hello.
And the person leading this episode today is going to be a guy who loves everything Mission Impossible. Matt.
Yes. Sorta. We're
gonna find out.
Yeah. Long story. And so I guess I was expecting to do the question thing.
I haven't done the question in weeks, Matt.
You didn't even give me a softball with the question, though. Even Adrian nodded his head like, yeah, you usually leave softballs.
No, I don't.
I did not at all. Don't put that evil on me. I'm just here drinking water.
I made a Wonder Woman thread. Okay, so I guess as we always do, we start with a question. And I guess my question is, have you seen the movies? And I guess, what do you know outside of the movies?
I'll start. I only started watching the movies once I started dating you. Because outside of the Interview with the Vampire, I don't like Tom Cruise movies. But then I watched that one Mission Impossible movie with you, and I was like, this is some good action stuff. This is good. I gotta keep watching Mission Impossible movies. And that's about it. I only know the movies. And, I don't even think I've seen the first Mission Impossible, if I'm honest. I just remember The Rock. The cliffhanger. Sorry.
I don't remember any of these movies. I've probably seen, the second one. Maybe the third one. I don't know. These movies have been out forever. Since, the 90s. And I'm with Kate as I'm not a big Tom Cruise fan unless he's in Tropic Thunder. But I mean, I'm sure they're fine action movies. You're talking to the guy who loves Fast and Furious. I'm sure I would like them. I just never sat down and watched them all. And just judging by the previews, they're talking about stuff that happened forever ago, and I don't want to be lost in the movie when I'm watching Fallout. So I'll have to watch the other ones before I even think about watching Fallout. But I'm aware they exist. I don't know anything outside of the TV show. I mean, outside of the movie. I didn't even know there was stuff outside of the movie. I thought Mission Impossible was Tom Cruise.
That's what I thought, too.
Oh, such young people.
Also, I'm just going to Fallout to see Henry Cavill reloading his arms. So, that's kind of all I care about.
So, yes, when I brought this up about this movie coming out, and I mentioned all this, Kate was like, why are we just going to talk about a few movies? And I was like, Kate, this whole thing's been around since the 60s. And she's like, what? I'm like, no, it's been around since the 60s.
Is it like America's answer to James Bond?
I mean, I don't know if that's correct, but it could be possible close.
Let's talk, and then I'll tell you, because I actually really like James Bond, and I've read some of those books.
So anyway, basically, I've obviously seen all the movies. I've seen them all at least probably 3 to 4 times each, actually. Except the very last one, because Netflix is assholes, and they like to take them off. So every time they put them on there, I have to watch all of them before they take them off again.
Oh, I remember that, because you tried to watch a Mission Impossible movie the other night, a while back, and instead you put on that, Jack Reacher sequel.
Yes.
There's a Jack Reacher sequel?
Yes, it's on Amazon Prime. It is atrocious.
Oh, that's Jack Ryan. Isn't that Jack Ryan?
Oh, Jack Ryan.
They're different.
Yeah, Jack
Yeah,
Ryan,
don't even get me started on Jack Reacher.
Wait,
Tom Cruise
it's Jack Reacher.
It's Jack Reacher.
No,
he
Jack
got a
Reacher.
second Jack Reacher movie?
Yeah.
That short bastard got another Jack Reacher movie.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate Tom Cruise. This is gonna be my Matt episode where I'm just angry the entire episode. Oh, I hate Tom Cruise so much. He should have never been Jack Reacher.
Okay.
He had this franchise. Why do you have to be fucking... He's Ethan Hunt. Why does he need to be Ethan Hunt and Jack Reacher? It makes no sense.
I'm just happy I'm not the one going off for
Oh, I'm
change.
so upset. I'm so angry.
But yes, I usually actually, before Netflix started messing with us, I usually watched all of them probably about once a year. But then they kind of been messing with me now.
So is Benedict Cumberbatch, Jeremy Renner, or Tom Cruise big? Because I can't tell anymore.
I mean, depends on where we're going with the movies, which we'll actually talk about Jeremy Renner because they kind of all fall in here at this point. But as far as that, I actually knew the TV show. I've only seen a few of it because obviously it was way before my time, and so
And you called us young.
well, I actually knew the TV shows existed, and I've actually seen some of the episodes.
Y'all are young. This came out before I was even born.
Yeah, I at least knew it existed at this point. But anyways, I guess we'll start with this like a quick synopsis.
Adrian looks
Since
pained.
some of you guys obviously
They
did not
didn't even
know.
like base his second movie off of like the good books. Ugh. I hate it. Okay, I'm sorry.
Did you Google Jack Reacher?
I just looked it up, and it like they base it off of like not even like the good book. Oh, so dumb. I hate him. I hope he dies in this next movie.
Don't be talking like that. Anyway, so basically, what Mission Impossible is, it's an American spy TV to film franchise that follows secret agents that are part of an agency called the Impossible Mission Force, or IMF. This was the 60s. They came up with the greatest names.
I did not know that was the name.
Yeah.
Matt, you can literally never, ever, ever, and from the rest of the time we do this podcast, ever talk bad about Fast and the Furious. If you love a franchise where the name of the people is called Impossible Mission Force.
Well, obviously the movies had to take this from the TV show that was made in the 60s where there was no creativity whatsoever in this.
Oh no!
I knew that was gonna be bad because every time you say it out loud, it's so bad.
So it's a
sounds so
knockoff.
dumb.
So it's a knockoff of MI6 and the 007 program.
Yeah, it's great. America has to have their things and like it.
Sorry.
I can't
You
beat my
love
track.
this
I'm
series,
trying to
man.
stop.
I can't laugh at you, man. You love this series. Continue.
Anyways, they do covert missions against evil dictators, organizations, and actually in later the seasons of the TV show, crime lords, which I want to mention just because they did it to save money because they got tired of filming overseas and it cost more, so they just figured we'll just do all domestic crime lords to save money.
So how really impossible is that mission?
I don't know. You keep laughing. Wait till we get to some of the people that are involved in some of this stuff.
Keep going.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
They operate primarily by using confidence tricks. I know that's what they use. Apparently that is the lingo, but basically being a con artist. Basically infiltration, and high technology devices on targets. The TV, basically the masters of disguise. So all the stuff you see in the movies, basically they kind of took that from a TV show. They did a lot of it. I mean, some of the stuff is basically kind of thing, but yeah, it's kind of what they do.
Oh my god!
This is,
Was that Dana Carvey movie, Masters of Disguise, like a parody of Mission
That I
Impossible?
don't know.
Does he dress up like a turtle
Yes, that's the
and,
one. Oh,
and then drink Pepto? Does Ethan Hunt do that?
Gosh.
turtle. Okay, I'm sorry.
Anyways.
Matt, these are softballs.
I have to get through the 60s show, man. Before we can get to the good stuff, apparently. But anyways, it's part of this whole time, like, basically you're laughing at this, but it is part of this whole, like, 60s thing where James Bond came out in, like, the mid-50s. This
he
came
was
out
cool.
in the 60s. There's, like, a bunch of other, like, spy and crime TV shows that came out in the 60s. Like, this whole, like, ABC and CBS had, like, a whole dedicated, like, espionage, like, era here of, like, crime TV.
007, Impossible Missions Force.
Yeah, it is what it is.
I mean, okay, I'm sorry. I'm going to stop now. I love you. I'm sorry.
So for those of you that haven't turned off this episode already,
No, I think they're staying with this. I think
Yeah.
they're liking this.
each agent, basically, as they do a team, is specialized in a special set of skills and used accordingly for the plan they do. At least according to the TV show, and as you've seen in some of the movies, they way to do it. And then I'll
Now
talk.
that is different. I do like that.
Well, if you'll let me get to the people, I'll talk about how it's even cooler the way they do it in the TV show.
Okay.
So anyways, we'll get to the first run of the TV show, which was from 1966 to 1973, and then we'll get to the reboot, or the kind of continuation, soft reboot, kind of basically continuation in 1988 to 1990. It was created by Bruce Geller, who also produced Mannix, which ran from 1967 to 1975, and I mentioned that because basically it was also another show just like this as a crime drama. It ran for a long time. I don't know if I should. He died in a plane crash. That's about the only things that were really special about him. Was he made these 2 shows, and then that was it. So the original Mission Impossible from 1966 to 1973 had 7 seasons, 171 episodes.
That's a lot of episodes.
Well, that's why when you guys were like, I don't know what you're talking about, I'm like, there was actually a ton. It wasn't like they just had like a few seasons, or like, because even like the Magnum PIs and the Wi-Fi, they were only around for like a few years, and then they basically didn't have it much.
Well, that's the confusing thing to me, I guess, because like I know about Magnum PI and Maddox, or like and Matlock and like all these people, but I don't remember.
Yeah, they all basically spring up right after Mission Impossible.
I didn't even know.
They
kind of
basically, I can't say they're the first, but from what I know, they're pretty much one of the first like American shows like this. So anyways, we'll get into the main cast. Basically, the first season is Dan Briggs, played by Stephen Hill. He was only the first season. He was like basically their main protagonist and like kind of like your Ethan Hunt of the show. But he actually only lasted 1 season because he was an Orthodox Jew who had to leave on Fridays at 4 p.m.
Yeah.
And so essentially, they signed this contract basically saying we'll allow filming, interrupted due to religious things and everything. And they kind of really had no idea what they were signing up for. And then essentially, it just became so hard to work around, so many problems. And then apparently, some of the stunts he didn't like. Apparently, he locked himself in a dressing room, refusing to do one of the stunts. And basically, to sum it up, a quote from basically one of the producers or whatever, Joseph Gatman: if someone understands your problems and says he understands them, then you feel better about it. But if he doesn't care about your problems, then you really begin to resent him. Stephen Hill may have felt the same exact way.
Oh.
Yeah, so basically they both kind of had these problems like, hey, I understand you're religious, we're trying to work with you, but
that makes sense.
We have to get this done.
Yeah.
So anyways, basically you have this guy named Jim Phelps, played by Peter Graves. He ends up taking over. So they basically changed over to Jim Phelps, played by Peter Graves, who ended up becoming the lead character throughout the rest of basically Mission Impossible TV. Basically, he had his colleagues of Barney Collier, played by Greg Morris, Willie Armitage, played by Peter Lupus. Armitage. And those were your 3 main characters that lasted through the entire series.
Like as a group?
Yes.
Like as a unit?
Yes. And so what they did for the other main characters is basically they rotated them in. They kind of had replacements. And so you kind of have we'll start with the women. They had Cinnamon Carter, played by...
What is that name?
I know, it was a great name. I had to say it.
Hold on. I need to see something.
It's probably about what you expect.
It's just a really rich, hoity-toity white lady.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Man, she's smoking.
Yeah, played by Barbara. So Cinnamon Carter, played by Barbara Bain, was seasons 1 through 3. Then basically Diana Lambert, played by Deanna Lambert, played by Leslie Ann Warren, basically kind of replaced Barbara in season 5. Season 4, they just did a bunch of guest stars before they finally had.
So one woman at a time is what you're telling me.
Oh, they do it with the guy too.
Okay.
Besides those 3, they replace everybody.
Okay.
That's why I said the notable here. And these are just the notable cast. And then they had basically Mimi Davis, played by Barbara Anderson, who basically replaced Linda in season 7 because Linda had to go on maternity leave. Maternity leave. And yeah, but basically Barbara Anderson thing because she was the main character and an Emmy winner from the show Ironside, which is another crime drama in this time frame. And so to get to the guys, you basically had Roland Hand, played by Martin Landau.
Name though.
What?
That name though. Roland Hand.
Oh. So played through seasons 1 through 3, and then the Great Paris, played by Leonard Nimoy.
Oh wow!
Was in season 4 and 5, who replaced Martin. Yes, the Leonard Nimoy.
Wow!
Yeah, that's why I said wait till we get to this thing.
Yeah.
And then we had Dr. Doug Robert, played by Sam Elliott. in season
Sam
5.
Elliott?
Yes, that's Sam Elliott, the guy that you may not realize is in actually a ton of films. The guy from Tombstone, the guy that plays on The Ranch, that stars in The Ranch these days, that guy. He's like 70 years old, still acting off.
Oh, this guy has been in everything. He's essentially the other Ron Swanson.
Yeah.
Adrian.
Yeah. I know who Sam Elliott is. I love Tombstone.
I know, that's what
Yeah.
that's why I said. He played 2 seasons in the show. And he was actually set to take over for... And so he was actually set to take over for one of the main cast crew of William, or Peter Lupus of Willie. But Willie was apparently so popular that they finally basically had to keep Willie and they let go of Sam.
Everybody likes Willie.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, most of them are all dead, except all the women are actually alive.
Because women live longer.
Actually, no, because most of the women are all 10 to 15 years younger, except Barbara Bain.
Not surprised by that. Okay.
Except Barbara Bain, who was in seasons 1 through 3, who is basically the same age. And Sam Elliott, who's also the thing. So basically all the older new cast they brought were all born in like the 40s, where all the starting cast was born in like the late 20s, early 30s.
Oh, that makes sense.
And so by season 5, everybody that was replacing them was like...
They also usually, I mean, that's still something that goes on today. Like, if you look at a casting set, like, the women are usually 10 to 15 years younger than the men that are casted.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I said. Like, yeah. So women were obviously about almost 10 to 15 younger than all the men at the time, except Barbara, who was about the same age as them.
Yeah.
Had a rating of 8.0 on IMDb. It won 3 Golden Globes for Best TV Actor by Peter Gray, Best TV Show, 1968, Best TV Star, in 1968, Martin Landau. And actually, all of the women received Golden Globe nominations.
Dang.
During the time. And the funny thing, it wasn't just one of them. It was Barbara Bain, Linda Day, and Leslie Ann Warren all received some sort of Golden Globe nomination, whether it be Best TV Actor or Actress or Best, like, TV Star Female, or I think it was Best Supporting Actress. They all were nominated.
Nice.
It won 5-time Emmy, or it won 5 Primetime Emmys, and it won 11 other various awards and was nominated 39 other times. So it was actually a pretty successful show for when it ran. And then a bunch of time went out, and they basically decided we're going to restart it again in 1988 through 1990. And basically it was 2 seasons, 35 episodes, so even 2 seasons with 35 episodes for them. So that's basically a total of 200 episodes, but none of you knew where this took place. They basically set the setting. It took place 15 years after the end of the last season of the first Mission Impossible. They brought back Peter Graves and Jim Phelps again. Greg Morris and Linda Day returned as guest stars to reprise their roles, and then they basically started with everybody else. It took place during the writer's strike, and so they had some problems with it, the writer's strike of 1988. They filmed it all in Australia. It was one of the first commercialized TV, American commercialized TV network programs to be filmed in Australia.
Oh, wow.
Basically because it was 20% cheaper. It actually had pretty decent ratings and everything, and then they decided to move it to Thursday just because, and basically Bill Cosby's show killed it. And so
that happens.
And then they tried to move it back to Saturday, but by that time it was already like in the tank.
Yeah.
It basically had a rating of 7.6, nothing else. Nominated for 2 Primetime Emmys for basically sound nominations.
I don't think people realize how much a time slot actually matters for TV shows.
Yeah, like I said, actually, from everything I read, it was actually doing pretty well. Could have gone on for a few more years, but basically that Thursday time slot just straight up killed it. There's a TV show in a nutshell. So let's get to movies real fast, as what you guys all seem to know, and most the current generation and most people know.
Oh, these scores are awful.
They get better.
Oh, that is right. That's interesting.
Yeah, no, wait. They
talking,
get. Yeah,
Matt.
you keep talking about they're awful. They're not that awful as you think.
Talking.
So the movie franchise takes place in 1996 to present day. Obviously, there's now 6 movies with Mission Impossible Fallout coming out basically today, basically July 25th, and I think it officially releases the 27th or whatever. And the first one, 1996, Rotten Tomato score 62, IMDb is 7.1, Mission Impossible 2, 57 on Rotten Tomatoes, 6.1, came out in 2000, Mission Impossible 3, 2006, 70 on Rotten Tomatoes, 6.9. And then
these are actually really far spaced out, too.
Yeah, no, they give them a good few years. And then basically Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, which is probably the one that you were probably thinking of. That's the one we saw in theater together, but at least I know I watched this one with you. At least was 2011. Actually has a 93 on Rotten Tomatoes, a 7.4 on IMDb. And then Rogue Nation, which came out in 2015, has a 93 as well on Rotten Tomatoes and a 7.4 on IMDb. And then right now, Mission Impossible Fallout basically is pulling a 93 on Rotten Tomatoes and a 9.4 on IMDb, but I'm pretty sure that's going to probably drop quite a bit over once it actually
Opens up to everybody.
Yeah, opens up to everybody over the weekend.
Yeah. I will say this too, like, maybe the reason it does better in these later ones is because they actually have, like, tech that looks good.
Yeah,
versus
which
the
will,
first ones.
Yeah, we'll probably get into some of that when we get to the but why those here in a second. I just want to
Okay.
get to the main cast and then get to that. So the main cast for these movies, basically you have Tom Cruise, who's been playing Ethan Hunt this entire time. And Vin Rames, who's been playing Luther Strickle this entire time. Those are basically the only two characters that have been through all the movies.
I love Ving Rhames.
Yeah. And then they have Simon Pegg, who plays Benji Dunn, who's basically been in the third one on, who's basically his character's come on and become really a fan favorite. And then Julian Meade, played by Michelle Monaghan, who basically is Ethan Hunt's wife, who plays in the third, fourth, and basically I think returns in this one. And then obviously you have a few others like Jeremy Renner, Alec Baldwin, who also have appeared in multiple ones. So those are basically that's a movie rundown. So let's get into the but why those of what this franchise does and why it's some cool things about it. So one, obviously it's a successful franchise. We had the TV show ended up being 9 seasons, 206 episodes, 19 awards, 41 nominations. The movie franchise, 6 movies. It's been spanning for over 22 plus years. Right now, it's the 25th highest growing franchise domestically and the 20th highest grossing worldwide. Obviously, it's probably going to climb a few spots. I think it can get to...
Is this adjusted for inflation?
The domestic one is.
Okay.
I don't mess around with unadjusted ones. I don't need to hear about somebody yell how your movie came out now and it sold 25% less tickets, but it's the highest grossing movie. But, anyways, yeah, so this one probably climb. I think it can get almost up to maybe in the maybe the 15th at the highest if it does really, really well. But it actually doesn't much as they're been successful and rated, they actually aren't big blockbuster movies. I think
Really?
the highest one is Ghost Protocol at maybe just under 700,000 or 700 million.
Wow, I've always assumed that Mission Impossible is a blockbuster.
I mean, the last 3 they've kind of made it like that,
Yeah.
but also like I said, this one came out in 91.
How much are they made for? Do you know?
The first movie I know was made for only $80 million, and it pulled in about $200 million.
Well, I mean,
150 million.
Here.
Going backwards, 150 million, 145 million, 150 million, 125, and 80 million. And that was
Wow.
broken.
Yeah,
So
that's
I don't know what Fallout's is, but I'm assuming it's huge.
Yeah.
Those aren't even, or even for Rogue Nation and stuff, those aren't expensive movies, which sounds weird to say, but now the blockbusters $400 million movies.
Yeah, it's not bad.
You don't gotta pay stuntman. Tom Cruise does it all.
Oh god.
I do admire him for doing all his own
Which we'll get to
stunts.
that later in our fun facts section, which probably might be the best part. So that's why you got to hold on to your seats here. Y'all can quit laughing at me now. Anyway, the TV series versus the movie franchise. There were some controversies when this happened. So basically, when they went to do the first movie in 1996, they actually asked Peter Graves and Martin Landau to reprise their roles in the first Mission Impossible.
Oh, wow.
But they pretty much declined it, and all the cast hated the first movie. Because, one, if you've seen the first movie, they actually, after starring for 9 seasons as the lead person of IMF in the hero, they basically turned Jim Phelps into the bad guy, and he's the main bad guy in the first movie.
Also, don't call it the IMF. Call it what it's actually called.
IMF.
Impossible Missions. I don't even remember what the F stands for. Force.
Oh god. It's like some Donald Trump
That's awesome.
Secret agent force that
Star Force.
that he would come up with. That's literally
he was
something
pretty
I
much
can see.
born in that era, so... he was born in that era, I'm pretty sure, so probably... Anyways, basically, Jim Phelps turned it down because he didn't want to be the bad guy after basically being the lead of this franchise, being the good guy, and all of a sudden they're like, we're going to make you the bad guy.
That makes sense. If I put, so many years of my life into this thing, and then they're like, oh, and you're the bad guy, and Tom Cruise is going to come in here and play the good guy.
Well, Tom Cruise was working under Jim Phelps, so they wanted him as the older guy. If you've ever seen the movie, basically, Jim Phelps is the old, basically...
Well, you just said he's the bad guy.
Well...
Sorry.
Have you ever watched a spy movie?
Double cross.
Literally, that's what happens. Basically, Jim Phelps is the old guy, which they ended up getting John Voight, I believe, to play him. He basically is a mentor of mentor of Tom Cruise and his team and whatnot. And then basically the reason Martin Landau didn't want to be in there because they basically wanted him to come reprise his role, and then they were going to immediately kill him.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't want to be. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be there either.
But anyway, so that's why he didn't want to go. Which basically, if you watch the first movie and you can remember back that far, that's basically what they do. They basically suicide the original Tom Cruise's original team, which then you find out Jim Phelps basically did at the end of the movie.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, so basically they took Jim Phelps, spent all 9 of his seasons, and turned him into a bad guy. He was the face of the franchise, and now he's a bad guy.
That would make me mad.
Yeah. And so obviously this upset a lot of the original fan base and obviously all of the cast and whatnot. Basically, I believe it was Greg Morris right before he died watched the movie maybe a month or two before he died. It's like, I hate this movie, and he died.
It was so awful, I died.
Yeah. I think it was either him or Martin that actually did that.
Yeah, no disrespect to him.
Yeah. No, but that is weird because, like I said, that was because basically if you read his obituary or that's literally what it says at the end. Yeah, they asked him to do this thing or he went to go see the movie. He said how much he hated it and then he died a few months later and you're like, okay.
Wow. No bueno.
Yeah. Which basically kind of what you were talking about here. The TV series was basically the spy espionage, mind games and everything else. And obviously in the TV show, from what I read and what I remember, they don't actually ever kill anybody. So people may die, but the actual agents don't ever go and kill anybody.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's all basically spy thing, infiltration, we're going to go in here somewhat a heist or pull a con, and do this and then leave. Or get somebody killed but then leave. No
They
trace.
never actually do it themselves.
Yeah. And so basically that was one of the problems a lot of them have because they basically, if you've seen all that Mission Impossible, they're more of action movies.
Yeah.
And they're totally not what they had in the TV show. So basically they're technically in the same universe, but obviously the cast and original fan base pretty much just owns bringing them together, even though, like I said, they have there's a lot of references, a lot of the stuff is from the TV show.
So if I go back and watch the first movies, am I going to hear the words Impossible Missions Force?
Yes. So they start out with that, and then I think in the later movies they actually move away from it, and that's why it's always IMF, and they hardly ever.
Wait, but it is still called the Impossible Missions Force.
Yeah, everything else is pretty much the same. Yeah, they're IMF. That's why they call themselves IMF. And if you ever look at that's what
makes me so happy.
Yeah, no, it's still everything's the same. Which kind of leads in this whole debate, which we kind of seen with some other movies. I kind of want to know and talk about was this whole spy versus action movie. Because obviously the original cast didn't like in a lot of these movies, but we've kind of seen these kind of almost spy and other types of movies turn into almost these action type blockbuster type movies that you guys were talking about. We've seen it in Mission Impossible. We've seen it somewhere in the later James Bonds. Why some of the older people don't like it. We've seen it in Star Trek.
Wait, are you talking about specifically action movies to spy movies or anything?
No, but what I'm talking about is these action-based movies that were over not the original concepts.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've seen it in some of the style movies, but it actually goes
Jurassic Park in there.
Kind of, but yeah, basically you have seen in Star Trek in the newer movies.
Yeah.
The Bourne trilogy, I'm not really necessarily agree with that one, but
feel the same.
But they all felt, to me, they all felt the same. But apparently, some people really think that the last two are kind of more action movies than the first one or so. It can even be seen in the Fast and the Furious if you watch the first two movies versus what we get now.
The first three.
Yeah, nobody counts the third one.
Tokyo Drift is
and then I'm sure I'm missing
underrated.
some others. Yeah.
Right? Tokyo Drift is amazing.
But anyways, I'm sure I'm missing some others, but I just didn't know what you guys thought about, if you think it's a problem or anything, or you like this more action-based versus these other... Because I actually like the first two Fast and the Furious movies, and I can't stand what they put out now.
I think it just has to do with your preferences. So if I'm completely honest, a lot of these movies and the spy genre itself is freaking horrible for for women and to women. And so for me, it's a lot more palatable to watch the later movies where it's heavier action because I don't see that as much than if I watch the other ones, right? Because it's not necessarily so story driven. I'm just watching it to see people hit each other, and that's all I really care about because I want to go there for the action. Whereas the other pieces and we'll do a James Bond episode eventually, but I love James Bond, but some of the stuff is extremely cringy, and it was cringy even when I was little. But this new Daniel Craig, he's still at his heart what James Bond has been, but the fact that there's so much action packed stuff to it. I mean, and they genuinely do better on that front, but I don't know. I think it makes it easier, and I think that the reason the studios are doing it is because it's more palatable,
right? For
a lot of people.
Well, yeah, we're
what?
I was gonna say because we're stupid. We have short attention spans.
Well, I don't think it's because
that's why I didn't say that. I'm trying not to BS me.
Yeah. No, like, I think it's just because it makes it palatable. It widens the audience that can come see your movie. It widens the amount of money you can come see your movie, because I don't think a lot of people understand that, like, when it comes to it, like, if you don't appeal to women, you're missing out on 40% of revenue for movies, if not more, depending on what study you look at and who's purchasing the tickets. I don't know. I love action movies. I love seeing things blow up. That's why I'm going to Fallout. I'm gonna see a whole bunch of explosions and Tom Cruise getting hit by cars.
So I don't mind the Mission Impossible the way they've gone. The Star Treks I don't mind. I don't like the Fast and the Furious. The Bourne trilogy has never bothered me.
The Star Trek I do mind.
But I was going to talk about this. Like, I like a lot of the older Bond movies because it's a lot of conversation, story driven, and there's not as much. Like I said, I guess to me, I think about, like, when you watch, like, spy things, you don't see people don't take as many. Your goal is to not get caught and not take as many chances, not let's start a gunfight at every chance you can.
No, I completely,
which makes it like a lot of those.
Yeah. And I completely agree there, and, like, I'm not going to ever knock anybody for liking James Bond, because, like, those movies weren't, like, I was not the target audience for those movies, right? But I can definitely see what you're saying. Like, it's more about, like, how do I get out of this situation than how do I make the biggest explosion to get out of the situation.
I mean, it's the difference, like, when we play, well, I guess Assassin's Creed, but I played a lot of Hitman, too, was basically the whole goal was to basically get in there, you take your car, get out, and you leave.
Yeah.
Whereas you have other people like, I'm going to grab the rocket launcher.
That's me.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, with the ones that you mentioned, the only one I have a problem being, not a problem, because I still, like, enjoy Chris Pine and stuff in the new Star Trek movies, but it's not really Star Trek, because I care about, like, the interplay of characters and the dialogue and the moral questions, and Star Trek is Fast and the Furious in space. Now. But.
I mean, I don't have a problem really with any of these. The only ones I don't really watch Mission Impossible because I don't like Tom Cruise, obviously. But, like, if you interchange, like, plots in most of these movies, you get the exact same movie. So I don't buy the... Because, like, something crazy happens and something falls out of a plane and everybody's okay. That happened in the last James Bond movie. That happened in the last Mission Impossible movie. That happened in the last Fast and the Furious movie. Like, it's just, like, dumb action movie stuff.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's what I think they.
And I think the biggest reason why they do it,
like the original James Bond, like a lot of that wasn't taken place.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason why they do it is just because it's just more fun to watch that in the summer than James Bond, like old school James Bond being like a misogynist, like to women. Like, I think it's more fun to watch Daniel Craig punch stuff than him like seducing women in a very creepy way.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, like, it's weird, because, like, I've seen some people, like, get kind of mad that you don't have that, but Daniel Craig totally gets laid in all these movies multiple times. Yeah. It's still there. He's still a ladies' man. It's just not really creepy. And
then I think, like, just the biggest factor is just, I mean, if you look at the last, even if you just look at, like, the last, like, 4 Fast and the Furious movies, that's, like, $4 billion. The last 2, like, almost $3 billion. That's why they moved away from, you know, the car thing being like the focus.
Yeah. I mean, it's why Transformers still makes money even though it's completely awful.
Actually, this last one didn't make money, so I'm kind of hoping they just stop it. Yeah, that movie flopped.
Okay, awesome. Because I saw it on Amazon Prime. It was terrible.
It is bad. It is bad, and that's coming from me. I had a lot of trouble watching that movie. Like, nothing can save that movie.
All I know is I watched like 20 minutes of it, and it didn't really make a lot of sense.
No,
I was like,
it's off the rails.
And I was like, I'm out.
It's off the rails.
The only thing I liked was the baby Triceratops Transformer in the hut.
Yeah, not good. But I didn't watch like the original Mission Impossible, obviously, because I'm not, in my 50s.
You'd be in your 70s at this point.
So Matt, are you in your 70s?
No, like I said, I've only seen a few episodes and everything of it, and the concept stuff of it, but I've not really watched the TV show. I don't even know where I'd be able to find.
That's my point. Like, I don't have anything to compare it to other than stupid Tom Cruise. So, like, I'm okay with it being what it is because all I've actually known it being that's all I've known is that.
Well, that's why I tried to bring in some of the other franchises of this concept, because it'd be more of ones you guys would know and seen some of the other stuff.
I mean, I think, too, like, I think it just goes back to, like, the age-old thing. Like, I don't want people touching my stuff.
Yeah, that's basically what it is.
Like, that type of thing. That's essentially what it comes down to. Like, it could be good changes and people will still get, like, frustrated. Like, I don't like a lot of the changes in the Star Trek movies, but I'm not gonna, like, ram them for them. Like, I understand what they're doing and why they're doing it. I'm not...
I mean, as far as Star Trek, like, I'm fine with what it is, just because that's what I expect when I go into them now. Like, after the second one, for sure. Because the first one was pretty good. Like, there's lots of really great moral questions there. It wasn't as action-packed.
Yeah.
And then they just, like, said, all right, we're just going to redo Wrath of Khan. And then this last one was basically just Beastie Boys over and over again. With, like...
Fast and the Furious in space.
I mean, it wasn't that good. But, it wasn't bad. It just wasn't what I was expecting. So, like, I think... To your point, Matt, is like, as long as they stick with what they're changing to and they just kind of roll with it, kind of the way like Fast and the Furious has just said, like, no, we're just going full tilt into this dumb popcorn movie realm, then I'm all right with it. But if you like try to change it just drastically and then you kind of flip flop, I mean, if you're gonna mess something up, like mess it up full go.
And I mean, and I think too, like, if you actually look at it, like, if you take James Bond in perspective, like, it makes sense for them to do those changes because each Bond is different depending. Like, Sean Connery Bond is awful.
Don't you dare talk about Sean Connery like that.
Matt, he's a real life woman beater, and his Bond is awful.
He's never died in a movie.
Oh, he hasn't?
Almost, yeah. He's almost died multiple times.
Yeah.
But he's never died.
Yeah. Pierce Brosnan's, I actually kind of like Pierce Brosnan's. Daniel Craig, Roger Moore, like, they're all different types of Bond. So for them, I think that it's less felt and it's more understood.
Yeah, like, see, I think the main problem, especially with the Mission Impossible one, they were literally trying to get the original character to reprise their roles.
Yeah.
To then, like I said, basically turn one character bad or just change the whole thing. Like, it's not like they were making them completely different or changing everything.
Yeah. So I could see where, like, if that changes drastically and you're not adding, changing, or, like, doing different characters and actors, then I can definitely see how.
So have you guys? So you've seen all the movies, correct?
Which ones?
All the Mission Impossibles.
No, I'm pretty sure I haven't seen the first Mission Impossible.
Okay, Adrian, have you seen
all
of them?
No, I've seen like the first like 2.
Oh my gosh! So,
that was your first question to me, Matt, and I told you I have no idea what's going on in this episode.
I know, whatever. I couldn't remember. It was a long time ago. You guys were laughing at me this whole.
Oh, don't worry. I'm still
intro,
gonna be laughing at you. There's still a lot more laughs to go.
I'll go over the movies and we'll see how we go. So actually, the first Mission Impossible is probably the closest is it, and so it's actually more of like a spy movie, not as much action, even though it is more of an action thriller. But it's more like the '90s. It's not quite, definitely not overblown.
Question.
Yes.
Is this the one with the cliff?
No.
Okay, then this is not the one I've seen.
No. Anyways, this movie, unfortunately, is not that bad, except it does not hold up and is awful to watch now. It's so hard to... Okay, it's not awful, it's so hard, because, like, a flip phone back then was, like, extreme technology.
So it's dated. Like, it's something that
yeah,
doesn't,
it's
like it's not a timeless movie.
Yeah, no, the technology does not hold up whatsoever, because, I mean, your smartphone is, like, 20 times better than what they're using in that movie as like advanced technology.
I mean,
technically they got to the moon with less than our
it's hard to watch.
I mean, I guess like
a lot of the stuff
is it
that they
really
do
that bad? Because like, what did it come out in like '96? Like,
yeah, it's pretty bad.
Oh, okay.
The Razor to them is like an
the
amazing
Razor was an
thing.
amazing
they still
thing.
had like big computers
in 1996. The Razor was an
yeah,
amazing
but
thing.
well, I know that. I'm talking about watching it now. It's
is
hard.
it worse than Robert Downey Jr.'s tech in the first Iron Man movie?
Oh, we had the sideways phone.
The
I had that, and
the
it was
sidekick?
actually amazing. So, like,
I don't think that one's as bad as this movie is to watch. Some of the stuff is really bad to watch. It's just hard. The second movie is awful.
I think now that I'm like trying to like go back and like look at the plot, I think the second one is why I stopped watching them, because it was just bad.
Okay, so the
is
second
the second one the one with
the second one starts open with the rock climbing thing, which Tom Cruise climbed that damn rock. But that one is basically this whole weird. It's almost like basically a crime lord like weird movie that has nothing to do with Mission Impossible at all. I personally hate it. I've seen a lot of like the articles blow up saying trying to defend it and stuff. Basically, this movie did bad to where it killed all the movie product or all the money for the third movie.
Oh wow!
Because the third movie is actually probably one of my favorites, and it's actually pretty good.
What's that one?
Basically, they're doing with like nanotechnology, and they insert like bombs in your head, and they blow up. And it's
that one's J.J. Abrams. That one must be good.
Yes, which we'll get to him later in this thing. But yeah, that one's actually pretty cool. And then you obviously have Ghost Protocol, which you have basically
that one's really good.
Yes, that one's actually really good and starts with this upward turn where they start embracing as action movies in the thing.
That's why I watched it, because we had tickets for Rogue Nation and you told me to watch that one.
Yeah. So basically after that, also the third one's cool because they introduced Simon Pegg, and what they've done with this character from the third one, I don't know what obviously in this movie, but to what they've done in the last like 3, 4, and 5, it's actually pretty cool what they've done with this character.
I love Simon Pegg.
He gets a nice little like progression in each movie. So it'll be nice to see what he does with this movie. Like in the third one, he's basically this computer nerd who's like, I can't go outside, I don't know what I'm doing.
And now he's doing missions and shit.
Yeah. And then the fourth one is the fourth one is Rogue Nation, right?
Yes.
Fourth one is Ghost Protocol,
Ghost
and
Protocol.
then Rogue Nation, and then Fallout.
Rogue Nation.
So Ghost Protocol is 4.
Yes. My bad. Ghost Protocol's 4, Rogue Nation 5. Yeah, they switched up the dang names, so I get confused now. Rogue Nation, that was pretty good. That one's actually not that bad. And then obviously we've seen that one. And then we have this one coming out.
The trailers for Fallout look insanely amazing.
Yes.
And they did that, like, what is it? I don't know who the band is, but like I hear them on the radio all the time. Like it did like a fade in with like the Mission Impossible theme song, and it was so good. Like, yeah, I'm down.
Which kind of leads into the next point of basically why is Mission Impossible actually known or iconic or anything besides obviously you guys, even if you didn't know the TV show or Tom Cruise, basically that theme song.
Oh yeah.
So basically that theme song is basically in the intro. Obviously, you have the match lights the fuse, and the fuse going through the intro and whatnot, and they kind of done it.
Oh, and this will self-destruct.
Well, I haven't got to that part,
Sorry.
but thanks for jumping the gun again, as usual. If you'd read the notes.
Were you just talking about the theme song?
Yes.
Okay, talk about the theme song.
So the theme song, basically, it's iconic. IGN had it ranked as like the 5th top TV theme song. It's been ranked as at 8. Obviously, it's been fine on majority of TV.
So is this the same? Is the theme song of the movie the same thing from the TV show?
So pretty much, except I think one of the chords is different.
Okay,
And
but like if I heard both of them next to each other, I would assume that
unless you're a musician, probably not. You might be able to tell a little bit, but you wouldn't be able to tell. I think one they said is like the original one played in a 5/4 like note, and the other one's a 4/4. Which I'm not even sure exactly music. But, I mean, obviously, as the later the movies go on, they kind of, like, start, like, mixing them with them. Which then kind of leads to a lot of the parodies they've done with a lot of the shows and, like, the TV shows. Basically, anytime you see, like, we have to go on a mission, like, whether it's a cartoon or something, they kind of do a parody of spin of, like, something with this.
And be lowered from the ceiling?
Yes. So all those cool things were in the TV show.
Can somebody Photoshop a picture of all 3 of us being lowered into like on top of a laser?
I don't know the theme song, Matt. Can you tell me what it is? Can you hum it for me?
I mean, I'm not gonna hum it. Kate was already humming it.
Damn it, man! Come on, man.
Which leads to the best part.
He's just not as excited as you are when you go into your favorite.
Everyone's done their favorite theme songs on this podcast. You gotta hum it.
But it's not my favorite theme song. As I say here, basically, I played this song Guitar Hero. It wasn't that great to play, but it was cool. The James Bond theme song is way more fun to play on Guitar Hero.
See, I don't even know the James Bond theme song.
I probably couldn't sing it, but I know when I hear it. It's weird. It's been so long. Because
know
James
this
Bond, to me, I haven't watched the last few, because they kind of have moved away from like a lot of the stuff, and I like the old with the dialogue and the cool stuff.
We've watched, you just haven't watched the last one. We haven't watched Spectre.
I know, it's also been quite a few years since that. But Daniel Craig's still not my favorite Bond, though.
Idris Elba's mine.
Also, basically, there's a lot of cool techno versions of basically both those theme songs. Back when techno was cool in like the early 2000s.
Dubstep.
Which leads to the second part that Kate tried to jump the gun on, the self-destruct missions. Their signature, basically, they receive some weird tape or something that usually says good morning, afternoon, evening, Mr. Obviously the show, Briggs, Phelps, or nowadays.
Good morning, Mr. Hunt.
Mr. Hunt, and then it basically explains the situation, dire crisis, and then says basically your mission, Ethan, should you...
You need to use, like, a real voice for it.
That guy's actually, I think, been played, like, so much stuff. The guy that did the tape voice. He actually reprised his role.
A woman, didn't they?
I don't know about in the later movies, but I'm talking about, like, in the TV shows. That's, like, the same
I just
guy
like the first name on here. Your mission, Dan.
Yeah. Well, his name was Dan Briggs.
I know, but Dan.
Anyways, your mission, Ethan, should you decide to accept it or something like that.
Should you choose to accept it? See, I haven't seen all the movies, but I know that because it's
Well, that's what I'm
in
saying. Like,
everything.
it's a timely thing that's been. It's also been in a lot of pop culture
Your
stuff.
mission, Ethan. Should
Then they,
choose to
then they're
accept
reminded,
it?
as always, should you or any of your IM force be caught, or IMF, as they say it now, be caught or
Or
killed.
the
Your I
Impossible
am
Mission
force.
Yes. That's how they refer it to. The security will disavow any of your knowledge of your actions, and then usually ends with this message will self-destruct in like 5 seconds or something like that.
It's so cool. That's
Yeah.
like my favorite part of all these movies.
Yeah, they start all of it. Like
and
they
they're
start
so
every they
creative.
started every show like that too.
And it's so creative.
And they've had, and then obviously the movies have had fun with that little
Yes.
thing too. They've definitely had fun with it.
I think is it in Rogue Nation where he like doesn't it
Doesn't
like,
explode,
yeah.
and he tries to So they have a lot of fun with these. Obviously, those are basically honestly wide, probably like the most like known for and well known.
Da-da-da.
I don't know if there's anything else before we get to the fun facts, which are actually probably one of the most interesting parts of this franchise.
It's in my head now. Like it's
Yeah,
not
gets
gonna
stuck.
get out.
It gets stuck. It's a really good theme song.
It really is. Adrian, are you
I just
okay?
think
I know
the
you two have been struggling
name
for
is
this.
just so dumb.
You know what? Kudos for them for sticking with it this entire
No,
time.
they haven't stuck with it because no one knows
They
that's
haven't.
what IMF stands for. You should put a poll. And
Sadly, they
people
don't
should
because
guess to
they-
see what it stands for. They should have just like put it in their. Wait, which one is this? Is this 5 or is this 6?
This is 6.
I don't know. Their 7th one. They just got to say it like in the title.
Guys, have you ever thought that now that you're in Austin, Adrian, we need to go back to like a trivia because since we've started this podcast, I feel like I know so much.
So they start out saying it. Obviously, they've gone away from it. They always say IMF now.
Wait. Hold up. So it's like mission, and then it has a semicolon, and then impossible. So like it's called. They're not even called impossible. They're not even called like mission impossible. Or what's the thing?
They're called impossible.
So they
Mission
no. So they know they didn't stick with it because they switched up the words in like the title of the movies. They should have just been
Actually,
Impossible Mission Force, Rogue Nation. Oh my god, that's such a better title. That's such a better.
I feel like the Japanese title is that.
I'll look.
Given how they are with
I'll look
Fast and
into
the
that
Furious.
because I want to know if the Japanese titles did that as well because those are some of my favorites.
But I will say this. Just switching one word, Mission Impossible sounds infinitely better than
It
Impossible
really
Mission.
does.
This was the 60s. That's what they came up with.
They didn't want to be myth.
I don't know.
I wonder if that's what happened. I wonder if they were just like trying to come up with their acronym, and they're like, we can't be the myths.
I mean, that's probably it. IMF is not a bad acronym
Inf.
sounding.
It's because you can't really make like a name or.
Well,
word
that
out
you
of it.
pronounce your acronyms with like the 3-letter words. You don't call it the CIA. You call it the CIA.
Well, I know, but some of the 3-letter ones get called
Clip it.
it.
Clip it.
What, man?
The CIA. That's how I pronounce the CIA these days. It's called the CIA. I mean, no, that they're not supposed to. They're supposed to be red. The letters are supposed to be
This
red.
episode is my favorite.
Y'all are a disgrace to this episode at this point.
I love you, and I love that you.
I feel like
love
this point is going to
Ethan
be
Hunt.
self-destructing at this point.
Oh,
Is there
I should've
anything
started-
else?
I should have started out this episode with that.
What?
Your mission. Should you choose to accept it?
I thought about putting it in there, but I figured since I wanted to sit to the but why though to get in there, especially considering you guys apparently didn't know this thing was even around. You thought it started in 1996.
Yes.
You guys actually probably thought it started.
Okay, sorry I wasn't alive during the
Yes.
60s. Sorry
Yeah,
the
but I
second
mean,
TV
everybody
show
knew
came
the
out
show.
before I was born, or like ended before I was born.
Matt
You knew
was
what the
watching
Bill
it with
Crosby
us,
show
too.
was.
Well, yeah, syndication.
I've
Isn't there
literally
some
never
syndication, I'm pretty
seen
sure?
this show, like even like on like the TMC or something. I've never seen it.
Yeah, like I used to watch TV Land with my dad, and I've never seen this.
You would never see the Bill Cosby show unless you stay up to 6 a.m.
I've seen the Bill Cosby show.
No, they played it like right after Family Members and
Family Members?
a different Family Matters in a different world. They played it in that block.
Anything else before we get to these fun facts?
No, I want to get to the fun facts. I'm
Okay,
really
fun
excited.
facts. There's actually quite a bit of them, and this is actually probably the most exciting part if you've made it through this far. There's actually quite a few video games that actually came out in the 90s for this. I don't know if anybody played them. I've actually beat.
No.
I beat the one from 1998 on the N64.
I played GoldenEye.
So actually, GoldenEye came out in 97, and they basically kind of made it just like GoldenEye, and it's basically same thing as like GoldenEye, but it's actually Mission Impossible. It's a puzzle shooter game.
All I'm learning is that I can't get mad about Americans remaking stuff now because they've been doing this forever.
The funny thing is, it's actually not that bad of a game. It actually sold over 1 million copies.
Do you have like your team with you?
No, it's all single player. It's a single player shooter puzzle game.
Oh.
And it was actually kind of hard because you couldn't it wasn't one of those you couldn't just go in there and shoot people because then you just failed.
So I would not have liked that game.
No, it was actually hard. Obviously, Tom Cruise in his own stunts, he actually rock climbed, and he actually jumped from Dubai.
See, this is really. Oh, you can continue saying.
Oh, he attached to They actually attached himself to that airplane flying, and apparently he's also attached to the new helicopter.
So I don't like Tom Cruise for personal stuff, but I just realized that Michael Pena is also a Scientologist. So
I know that's what's funny.
So
Everybody yells about it, but I'm like, really?
Tom Cruise anymore?
Yeah.
Yes.
Michael Pena gives his acting career. Basically, all the credit for his acting career to Scientology.
Can you go back and redo our Wasp review real quick so I can take back?
That's what I'm saying. Everybody gets mad at Tom Cruise, but then when you start going down the list of what actually celebrities believe in and do,
I just didn't know that people of color were Scientologists.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, so that aside, even when I didn't like Tom Cruise because of
when you're
gonna
learn,
all this
just
other
enjoy
weird
your
stuff,
movie. And enjoy the actors that play their good fake lives.
Even
and that's
after all of the weird stuff, I will say this: the fact that he's done all his own stunts is really freaking cool. And I also want to know how they make a very small man very tall in the movies.
Haven't figured that one out.
He's also. I know you're gonna say he's not jacked, but he's jacked, Adrian. You look at him without his shirt off, and he's still
he's shredded. Good. I don't know if that's jacked. He's shredded.
You don't have to be 6 foot tall to be jacked. You can jack to me is just muscles.
Okay.
He definitely shredded for being 60-something years old.
He does not look like Russell Crowe, and he's older than Russell Crowe.
Yeah, I've never said Russell Crowe wasn't even jacked when he was in stuff.
Oh I know. I'm just bringing it up.
No, it was just funny because of
the Mummy,
and they're the same age.
Yeah.
And then we looked at Tom Cruise, and then we looked at Russell Crowe, and you're like, damn, you've eaten your gladiator self.
God.
Anyway, no, I will say I do respect him for doing his own stunts, but I respect anybody who does his own stunts.
Well, he's one of the few. I mean, not that he's a few, but considering some of the stunts that he's
done. A lot
done,
of high-profile movie stars don't do their own stunts.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Considering I'm not saying nobody else does, but considering some of the stunts that he has done, and what he does for how high-profile, yeah.
Yeah. I just want to know if they do the thing that they do with Robert Downey Jr., where Robert Downey Jr. in all of his scenes, he has an actual stage constructed on the stage.
I don't know.
For him to walk in to make.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised because Tom Cruise basically right now, this is his baby, and he basically funds this, and this whole franchise was his idea.
Cool.
This whole franchise was his idea in the first place.
Adrian, I want to make a movie and run it as my baby and do literally whatever I want because I fund the movie. That's kind of cool.
Are we gonna put you on
He
stilts?
basically said in 1996, "I want to make Mission Impossible."
Put you on stilts?
Yeah.
Which gets it better. So, next fun
but
fact.
I need that good Scientology
Back
money.
to former Bay, who basically died out. Jeremy Renner. He actually, when he...
Would you just call him former Bay?
Yeah, he was the guy who always wanted to be a spy, but will never be known as a spy. Always be known as a spy that never could. So
Didn't
when
he also try to take over Bourne's
Yes,
thing?
if you'd let me read this thing. So he signed on for that third movie, or the fourth movie, for Tom Cruise, and basically he was going to take over for the movies as the lead when Tom Cruise left. But then Tom Cruise said, nah, it's never going to happen, man. I'm Tom Cruise. And so Jeremy Renner just basically struck this deal. He's not even in the sixth one. Basically done. He also did the same thing with the Bourne series. He was supposed to take over for Matt Damon, but apparently his movie didn't do as well, even though I think it's a little underrated, but I can understand why people didn't like it. And then they went back to Matt Damon. So Jeremy
And now people just shit on Hawkeye? Jeremy
yeah,
Renner can't
that's
catch
what I'm
a break.
saying. He had his good moments of his good years, and you're ready for him to take off, and he was just waiting in the wing, and then everybody said, nah, we're going to keep playing
Why
this
are
character.
all of these other white action stars taking my spot? I can't get in.
Yeah. So that's what happened to Jeremy Renner.
Aww. So is that why he's former Bay? Who's current Bay, though?
Benedict, as always.
Okay.
We got this.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
How dare you? Anyways, so the third movie, basically because he went to go. Tom Cruise decided he wanted to go make World of War, and he basically does everything with this. He put the whole entire movie on pause, and so Simon Pegg was actually supposed
Wait,
to be
what movie?
Mission Impossible 3.
Okay.
Tom Cruise was supposed to go. He starred in War of the Worlds.
War of the Worlds.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
So he put this movie on pause because obviously he does whatever he wants with his movies. And basically, so Ricky Gervais was actually supposed to play the role of Simon Pegg, but because it got backed up, he left. And Scarlett Johansson was actually supposed to be in this movie as well, and she left.
Huh. So just because he was like, nah, I'm going to go do this other
Yeah, so
movie real
there's
quick.
actually a few other people, but those are probably the two big
names.
Yeah, I think Kenneth Bennett was supposed to be in it as well.
Kenneth Branagh?
I think Bennett. I think maybe Branagh. I thought it was Bennett. I don't know. There's a few other ones that were all supposed to be in this movie, and they all left because of the thing.
Damn.
Which gets back to J.J. Abrams. So basically, Tom Cruise binged all of Alias, and he loved the show, and then he offered him the directing job of Mission Impossible 3.
That's so cool.
And that's how J.J. Abrams got his first directing gig.
So ultimately, Mission Impossible 3 happened because Tom Cruise really, really liked this movie about a female spy made by
TV show.
This TV show about a female spy.
And so he literally he called up J.J. Abrams and said, hey, you want to direct my movie Mission Impossible 3? And that's basically J.J. Abrams like,
I
awesome.
want that kind of money, guys.
And that was J.J.
You know how
Abrams'
many shows
first
I
directing.
binge?
That was his first movie
That's really cool.
that he got a job. Speaking of Mission Impossible 3, they did a viral marketing ploy where they used like the theme song and audio players back in the day. Like this is like mid 2000. They put them in like the little vending boxes with LA Time, but of course they became loose and started playing, and they looked like bombs, and it confused everybody for bombs. So they kept having all these bomb threats, in which actually the police actually blew up one of the newspaper stands for precaution.
What year did Mission Impossible 3 come out in?
I think 2006.
Oh, okay.
So yeah. Which leads to the very best one, the most changing thing of Mission Impossible, probably why it matters the most. So that affected all of the movies in 2000. Ian McKellen was offered a gig to play in Mission Impossible 2 that eventually went to Anthony Hopkins, but they only sent him part of the script, so he wasn't sure if it was any good, and so he actually declined the script and then was offered Magneto and then Gandalf the next day.
What? That's
so
cool.
essentially, if he actually accepts that gig, we have a different Magneto and Gandalf.
I could not picture anybody in real life as Magneto other than Ian McKellen.
And I'm kind of glad because that
Gandalf.
movie was awful. And I like Anthony Hopkins, but I hate that movie.
That's super cool.
So I told you, the fun facts of this is actually pretty cool.
They're really good.
I don't know.
Good job.
The franchise itself is basically, like I said, known for the theme song, basically the people making fun of the acronym, and the self-destruct missions. The movies are cool. I mean, like I said, they're not like these huge, they definitely don't make like bank like a lot of other movies.
But it doesn't matter because Tom Cruise is just going to keep making them until he gets tired.
Yeah, Tom Cruise already said he's going to keep playing Ethan Hunt until he gets bored. So there's going to probably be another one.
Are we going to get like a 70-year-old Ethan Hunt?
Possibly.
Adrian, your face. Let it
He's
out.
just gonna get shorter, and then they're gonna give him bigger stilts. That's all that's gonna happen.
J.J. Abrams got his first break from Tom Cruise off of Alias because he liked it.
Yeah, it's
We almost missed out on Simon Pegg. We almost missed out on
really
Gandalf.
it's really hard to be a rich white guy with money. He's so generous with his white man money. Just because I was curious too. Sean Connery, Patrick Stewart, Christopher Plummer were all offered the role of Gandalf, but they'd all turned it down. And then Sam Neill was considered before Ian McKellen took the job. Just for your own curiosity.
Damn.
And no, I could not find any alternate Japanese titles for
Magneto's
Mission Impossible, unfortunately. So there is no like Mission Impossible Sky Mission or anything like that.
Aw, but that would be so good.
But as any other movie made the police blow up a newspaper stand. For precaution. Because marketing gone bad.
That's crazy.
I actually do remember
How do you
hearing.
think that is like a good idea?
I actually do
though?
remember hearing about that, but I didn't remember the extent of what it actually was, because obviously that was like 12 years at this point.
Gosh.
So that's about all I have for this. Fun facts. Yeah. Last thoughts, I guess, of anything.
Go into Scientology, make a lot of money, make your own movies.
He had a lot more money before he went to Scientology. Tom Cruise has been starring in the movies since like the 80s.
Okay,
he was he made money off Top Gun and stuff.
Scientology requires you give them money. So make a lot of money, give it to Scientology. It'll then save your acting career or give you more acting juices, a la Michael Pena or Tom Cruise. Then get more money and then make any movie you want.
To be fair, there's actually quite a bit of female celebrities that are also in Scientology that we've kind of like forgot to skip over.
The only one I know is the woman from Mad Men, who's now in Handmaid's
Obviously,
Tales.
we have some people who've left now, so they type thing,
which is insane because
but it's still funny that they were there in the first place.
The woman from Handmaid's Tales is a Scientologist,
What?
and Scientology is known for the main
in
character
movie, in Handmaids. Is that like meta?
Yeah.
Like she just.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like Scientology is known for abusing people inside of it and controlling everything.
I was born for this role,
and I was born into this.
Yeah, before you scapegoat all the other people, there's a bunch of.
I didn't scapegoat all the other people. I just said Tom Cruise because he's like the most notable
like
Scientologist, and Michael Pena because it shattered my heart.
He's the poster boy. So what are you expecting for? I haven't watched any of the movies, man. Like, what are you expecting for this next movie that you're going to be seeing or have already seen?
Based on the trailers, I'm actually really excited for this movie. I was more excited for this movie based on the trailers than Ant-Man and the Wasp. I can tell you that much.
Adrian's face.
I didn't watch the Ant-Man trailer.
I actually enjoy these movies.
But I do like... I mean, this trailer looked like dumb... He got hit by a truck and like flew off a motorcycle and is obviously going to be alive. Like, that's like peak dumb action movie garbage. And then... What's his face like punches a wall? Like I live for that kind of stuff. Like he punches through a wall. So like when I was watching, like, are they going just full stupid now, or has it always been like this?
I don't know if it definitely hasn't been Fast and the Furious stupid. Like at least some of the stuff has been like over the top, especially the last few movies. But as far as like outrageous, I'm gonna flex my muscle to break out of a cast.
He gets hit by a truck on a motorcycle. With no helmets on.
He said the other ones before this. Adrian.
I can tell you this much. I bet I can pull up more people who've been hit by a truck on a motorcycle and lived than people who've broken a cast by flexing.
I was more thinking about The Rock fucking picking up his...
Or a missile.
What is it? It's that jail scene where he's like staring at Jason Statham and The Rock just like breaks.
Yeah, that was his superhero moment. He went full superhero in that movie. But I'm just wondering, like, is this going to be more? If it is like more over the top than ridiculous, because it does look more over the top than ridiculous. Like the fight, what's the guy's name?
Yeah,
Kate. Yeah, like that fight looks like The Rock and Vin Diesel fighting. Like that's what that fight reminded me of, especially with like the gun loading flex thing.
So
like
good, though, Adrian.
that's some over the top fight scenes right there.
I say we'll see what it is.
Like I will say this though, I feel like we're going back. Like I feel like we had this piece where we were trying to do like smart action movies, and like the stupid ones were super stupid and didn't really go into theaters that much because they were all sequels. But like I feel like now we're getting back to like the early 90s, 80s action hero. Like action hero, he is an actual hero, and we're gonna do ridiculous things, which I feel like Dwayne Johnson ushered in.
I said the third one probably was pretty cool with stuff. It wasn't over the top. The first three aren't over the top. Well, the second one's has a few moments.
I didn't think Rogue Nation was over the top.
The Rogue Nation actually probably one of the most grounded ones.
I thought Rogue Nation actually had a really good story.
Yeah, Rogue Nation actually is pretty praised because it's like one of the most grounded ones they've had, and they kind of went back because I think Protocol was a little over the top. So I don't know. It's one of those.
They all blend in my head, but.
So they're going to be one of those because I did talk about when I was doing these notes about that of what they were talking about like between Mission Impossible and James Bond, how basically James Bond's kind of come up and whether they're going to go back grounded back to what they're doing, and the same thing with like this show and what we're going to see because Rogue Nation was kind of more of the grounded version of Protocol.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Dun, dun, dun.
I mean, it's also hard for me to argue about it when Tom Cruise does his own stunts and he's still alive. Can't tell me, there's no way he'd be on the side of a plane when he jumped on the side of that plane. Didn't have a harness, but at least he hung on and didn't let go.
I give him that.
So I don't know. We'll just have to see. Obviously, we'll find out probably about a day or so after this comes out. So probably by
we'll
time
find out tonight, the day this comes out.
Yes, but
and then I'll have a review up for you to read
Yes.
at butwhythopodcast.com.
Will you just wrap this damn show up? Come on.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. I'm sorry I laughed a lot, Matt, but I actually learned a lot, and I'm even more excited to go see Mission Impossible Fallout. So, yeah, thank you for joining us. Make sure you rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast wherever you're listening to it. It really helps other people find us. And you can find me at OhMyMythRandier on Twitter. Adrian?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at SuperRuiz93, SuperRuiz93, and I'm going to go YouTube some of the TV show episodes. I'm going to try and find them there, because I'm curious what the TV show looks like after Matt explained. Because that sounded really interesting to me. I thought that premise sounded cool.
Dang it, that's what I forgot to talk about. Son of a bitch.
What?
So, within the TV show, which made it pretty cool, was all the main cast basically had their own roles. So they all had, like, basically Greg Morris was an engineer and whatnot. And so he was an engineer and, like, had their own specialized skills, like I said. And, like, Cinnamon over here basically was, like, a fashion model / a high, like, so she ended up being a con artist and whatnot. And as they were replaced, they basically had somebody come in and they basically had the same profession and same skills.
Yeah, I can definitely see how people
time.
would get mad that Tom Cruise is just the face of your franchise when they have like this kind of ensemble of cast kind of thing. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Well, that's what's been cool about the last few ones they've done. Like I said, so Simon Pegg has now like obviously been in there. Vin Rames has actually been through all of it, so he was there as well. So they've kind of now like got this like not really an ensemble, but kind of pretty close of like a team. Versus especially compared to like
And
the
Rogue
first
Nation
one.
was super teamy.
Yeah.
It was extremely
Yeah,
team-based.
considering the first two, like I said, they kind of go. They get once Benji's introduced or Simon Pegg, they definitely start going to the team wise. The first two movies, it's basically Vin Rames and Tom Cruise.
Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun, dun,
Okay.
dun, dun, dun. It's in my head.
Well, quit. We're trying to record.
Well, Matt,
What?
we're already wrapping up.
Okay.
Tell them where to find you.
You can find me on Twitter. I'll be making a Wonder Woman thread.
Oh my God.